There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello and welcome back to Could It Be, an Oak Island podcast. We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
I think you are. I think Matty is.
I think he kind of is too.
He genuinely felt terrified through this entire episode. There was one point I actually thought he was gonna puke on the guest because he looked so scared.
Yeah, his face was kind of off color.
Or ghost like.
Kinda.
Maybe.
I
think he's afraid of a ghost. We can't call him the Ghostbuster. No.
Well, I think he went in there intending to be a Ghostbuster.
True. Good call. He had to call in reinforcements.
He did.
Anyways, that would be us jumping pretty quickly into that episode. Did we have anything else we wanted to chat about before jumping in?
Yes, we do. We had our book giveaway.
Oh, yes. I used my creepy voice. Oh, yes.
Okay.
So our winner was Joan Fox.
That's correct.
Now we're waiting to hear from you, Joan.
We have tried to reach out on Facebook Messenger, and if you haven't seen that message come through, please look through your, unfiltered messages, and
yeah, messages that aren't from your friends, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, unfiltered.
Yeah, so look through that, contact us, and we will get you your book. So Congratulations, Joan.
Yay! Thanks,
Yay.
Joan. We appreciate you entering, and we were happy to give it away in the car during swim lessons.
Yeah, that was funny. A lot of people may not have seen that video. You might want to describe it a little more than that.
Oh, you mean like the fact that when I was like, hey, when are we going to do this? And just threw it to you, and you're like, well, this time and this time seems perfect. Well, 5:45 at Pacific Standard Time. Anyways, for us, 5:45 is the exact time swim lessons start for both the kids on Thursdays. Whoopsie. Tuesdays.
And
Thursdays.
Oh my
gosh, and Thursdays. I am obviously tired.
Yeah, you got kind of beat up this week too, so
man.
I don't blame you for.
It's been a rough week for me. So, regardless,
Somebody fell down and bonked their head.
that's an
She
understatement.
was jumping on the bed.
I was not.
She was listening to the kids' music.
No, David was jumping on the couch, and I turned while doing the dishes, and there was water on the floor, and fell and cracked my head on the counter, and landed in the dishwasher, and then on the floor. And it's funny to say it out loud now, but man, I was just wailing in pain. And right now, my ribs hurt really badly. Doctor says maybe a mild concussion. My head hurts.
You're going to make it, though.
I am going to make it, but I can't wear my headphones on straight. I'm only wearing one ear because it hurts.
Sorry, babe. Can I give you a big bear hug?
No, don't touch me. So, yeah, it's been an interesting week besides, us not timing our giveaway right, me falling into a dishwasher.
At least you're extra clean, right?
Sure. Let's go with that. Oh, man. Wow. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, pretty heavy week.
Yes. And then, of course, coming off of this whole haunted week, apparently, this week we are talking about the truth behind the curse. Ooh. Spooky. Okay, there's been some mixed feelings about it leading up to it and after. Some people really liked the episode. Some people really didn't like the episode. Some people were somewhere in between. Where did you land?
I thought it was pretty fun. I enjoyed it to an extent, but I don't buy barely any of it.
But you're the Bigfoot and alien dude.
Well, Bigfoot did make an appearance, didn't he? It looked like it anyway.
Well, okay, so as we went through and we're trying to explain things, you're like, yeah, it's just Bigfoot.
Yeah, in my notes it says Jimmy Kaiser was attacked by Bigfoot. And he never came back to Oak Island.
Oh, man. That's interesting. I was going more like he had a really bad, like a night terror, And since he was sleeping in the cot, maybe he banged himself up when he was like,
He woke up with bruises all over his body.
Yeah.
He may have fallen and bonked his head and landed in a dishwasher or something.
He might have. He might have. And I'll tell you, that hurts, and that would keep me from going to the island if I did it in my sleep. So there's that.
There's that. All right, well, besides Bigfoot, there was no aliens. I'm not, personally, I'm not so sure that we're visited by aliens, but I know that they're out there.
How do you know?
Because the universe is too big for them not to be out there.
So then, if it's too big, why isn't it too big for ghosts? Oh, touche. Dun dun dun.
I'm just not into ghosts. I just don't get it.
Okay, so as I promised to come into this being very open-minded, I promised a few people, and I did. I tried. I'm sorry. I tried. There are a few things, maybe a hard time explaining. I really wish I could believe ghosts, like friendly ghosts, were a good thing, because it'd be great, to have that feeling of our past loved ones hanging around, like their spirit watching, like chilling with us.
I thought you were talking about Casper.
Or Casper. Casper seems legit. Casper is also the name of a mattress.
It is, but I like the movie Casper from the 90s.
I haven't seen that in ages.
Me neither, but
Maybe
I remember it
since
being
the 90s.
fun.
It's been a while. Okay, let's start at the beginning of all this, where Matty shows up at the island. He talks to the brother.
Yeah, he gives Marty a nice normal handshake, and then he gives Rick a weird handshake.
Like they're bros?
Yeah, like two hands, it's strange to me. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something Rick would typically do with everybody,
Oh, man, you're down to analyzing the handshakes. You know what? Sometimes a handshake and a bro hug are awkward, but you gotta commit. You gotta go for it.
Maybe he's bros with Rick.
Maybe.
I guess could be a thing.
That could be a thing. Maybe that's what we should do our poll on. Whether or not they're bros. Okay. So they get to talking about this notion of the curse. Is there a curse? Where did it come from? Do you believe in it? Yada, 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 yada. And Marty, he's like, Rick's probably your better person to talk to. Yeah, because I don't know where it came from.
Marty's like us. He's like, yeah, no.
Marty's like me. He's not like you. You're the dreamer.
I'm probably a little more like Rick, but when it comes to curse and ghost, yeah, no.
Okay, so this whole... I know people are one way or another on the episode, but I think this episode was important to have. Simply because I've seen a lot of discussion of people being like, where has this curse come from? This legend, this idea that a seventh must die, or that all these horrible things happen on the island. And when you've got a show called The Curse of Oak Island, I think you do actually have to...
Explain it?
Yes, explain it, address it. Where did this all come from? We see, was it Clary Croft? That's a folklorist. I didn't know. I learned something. New professions, I guess.
And that is not a person that works with flowers, right?
No, folk. Like a folklore.
Okay.
And he talks about the idea of the curse being told by others, maybe to keep other treasure hunters away from looking at the area they're in, or those who buried a treasure, to keep those from going there, which is actually the thing that made the most sense to me.
Yeah. This guy that has, his title sounded the most made up was the one with the best idea.
Well, folklores have been around forever, right? Just like fables or anything that tells a story. So I don't think his description was as far out as others. But I think he had a good point about, let's say someone just decided to make it up. If I was living in that time period and I buried a treasure, I definitely would make up rumors about that island being haunted and do whatever I could to convince people they should not go there. That to me just seemed like, aha, That was my aha moment.
Makes complete sense to me.
Done.
I think that is definitely where the curse originated and what the curse is.
And then it's continued to. It's hard to say. Being treasure hunters, we kind of chase fantasy and such. Most of these are real treasure hunters, but I guess, someone that's into the paranormal may say the same thing about that. As humans, we're good at making fit see what we want to see.
Very true.
So, again, trying to come in with an open mind. Right?
Yeah.
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 So,
good job.
That guy, totally, I get where he's coming from. We hear about the two fishermen.
I think it was 2.
Yeah, it was 2 fishermen in a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a good joke to start.
They saw some lights.
Saw some lights, and they went to investigate and were never heard
Poof.
from again.
Gone.
I think maybe they found some gold or a secret society that paid them off, and they were like,
peace out.
you can only live if you can disappear or something. I don't know.
And they sailed away to Jamaica or something.
A fishing boat to Jamaica from Nova Scotia.
Probably not.
Logistics there don't work out. Maybe they bought a much better boat to do it, though.
There you go.
So maybe
and then they brought back coconut fiber.
lots and lots of
and lots.
coconut fiber. Oh, so Matty's investigating the supposed curse, as he calls it. So it feels like he's coming in as a skeptic, but isn't Matty super into the paranormal?
He sure is. He has a podcast all about it.
Okay, so he's got a podcast about the paranormal.
It's called Monsterland.
Okay. And then isn't he also on a show that has to do with paranormal? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think you're wrong about
Okay. I feel like I've seen him super into this paranormal stuff, so I'm really surprised to see him so freaked out throughout this episode. I thought he'd
he may have been hamming it up a little bit for the camera.
Maybe.
He is an actor.
Good call. That's true. Let's see here. Paul talks about...
No, before Paul.
What?
Well, we have Nanette Corbett.
Okay.
The daughter of James Troutman.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, who is that?
Yeah, right?
Yes.
So who's James Troutman? It says it literally under her name, daughter of James Troutman, but then it does not explain who James Troutman is.
Yes, and
whatsoever.
I was like, I should know who that is. I did a very quick digging, and something about her being related to someone that did a film at the island or worked with them out there.
From what I understand, James Troutman worked with Dan Blankenship and Robert Dunfield back in I think it was early 70s. And while he worked with them, they built the causeway and stuff. Anyway, that's Paul Troutman's dad.
Okay, I was going to say...
So this is Paul Troutman's sister. That probably would have been a better way to introduce her if you're not going to explain who James Troutman is. Say Paul Troutman's sister, because we know who Paul is.
We do know who Paul is, but
he's a relatively new character to our...
He is. And a lot of people were like, who is Paul? And he just kind of showed up. But this makes so much more sense now that we've had to Google James Troutman. Full circle.
Yep.
Totally understand now. So that was Paul's sister.
Exactly.
Check.
And their dad was a big figure on Oak Island in the past.
Look at that. I love it. Full circle. So much learning. So much. Where was I before, though?
You were going to talk about what Paul was saying.
Oh, yeah. Paul said that the locals have always believed that the island is evil and that it's cursed and have had bad omens about it. I was like, all right. So we've already got this kind of lingering idea that it's cursed. Is this leftover from those saying, hey, it's cursed because I don't want you to find my buried treasure? Or is it just because many weird things happen out there and the fog makes it look super eerie? Or a combo thereof.
All of the above.
And then Marty mentions that the only evidence that there's a curse here is that everything seems to go wrong here. I was like, okay, that's fair.
Ruins people's lives, I think he said at one point.
Yeah, I think he said that towards the end, but Rick corrected him.
Yeah.
Because they beat the curse.
Mm-hmm.
They did beat the curse. We can wrap up with beating the curse. That was one of my favorite lines, though.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, this surprised me that Fred Nolan never spent a night on the island.
Seems kind of weird.
Doesn't he have a house there?
For a guy that has a house there, every time it shows that graphic of Nolan's cross, it shows where the cross is and it has a big white dot that says Fred Nolan's house.
Okay, so what, did he just like have snacks, maybe take a nap occasionally?
I don't know.
I don't know. I want, is there a bed there? I'm very curious now.
It looked like a full-size house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
So he believed that the crows were the disembodied spirits of, dead spirits or slaves that were worked on the island. Yeah, I guess that explains why in the horror movies and in books you see crows all the time and people get the EBGBs.
Yep.
But I'm not big into horror movies either.
Me neither.
More of a romantic comedy or a good conspiracy. I'm not a real horror story kind of person. No, not so much.
Not so much. Me neither. And that's going to really disappoint our new friends.
We have new friends?
Yeah,
oh, yeah, our new friends.
We've met on Twitter this week. Richard Duggan from the Chewing the Scenery podcast.
That's right.
I listened to some of the podcasts. It was cool, but I'm just not into horror movies. They do like a review of old horror movies. But he did tweet to us and he said, "We discussed Dracula's Daughter from 1936 and we had a great time on this podcast. Shout out to Oak Island Pod at about 14 minutes. Keep up the good work, you two." So they talked about us on the podcast for a couple minutes and he seemed to, it was all positive. So I think he liked it.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richard. That was cool.
I feel like old horror movies, like Dracula or something, I could try because it's not the same as the like chop them up and...
Yeah, the thing is, I can't do gore. I can do like, suspense.
Yes, so I'm with you. I like the suspense, but the gore, I just... I can't. I'm sorry. So if anybody has recommendations for these types of movies that are not gore, but maybe suspense, shoot them our way.
Yeah, because like when I was a kid, I remember just staying up late and watching like Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. Yeah, I would just watch them like it was no big deal. Like, I don't know. But now I can't do it. I can't look at them. It scarred me or something. I don't know. And I thought it was cool when I was a kid.
Okay, but when you were a kid, can you think of any like more paranormal, creepy movies that you liked?
Paranormal?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything.
Oh
that
man,
was...
you know what movie scared the crud out of me as a kid?
What?
Ghost, with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore.
I can't say I've seen that.
You haven't seen Ghost?
I have not seen Ghost.
It's the one where they're making pottery. It's like
I've
Unchained
seen
Melody.
like the iconic. Images. I was too busy playing sports as a kid to watch Ghost.
Well, the movie's not scary. It's fine.
Oh,
but like
it's
at the
not
very
about a
end,
ghost.
No, at the very end, there's like the bad guy dies and he sees Patrick Swayze in like the kind of limbo that he's in.
Okay.
And he gets dragged away by like these banshees or these wraiths or something, and it freaked me out. I'm not gonna watch it ever again.
Well, if you just don't watch it up to that point.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
I'll have to, I keep saying I'm going to watch that, so I will do that.
Yeah.
I will give that a shot.
Mm-hmm. Good luck.
Or, gee, thanks. I don't know, because of movies like that, though, I guess I'm not as scared of the paranormal as I am, like, humans that do horrible things.
I guess.
Because I know humans are real. Like, we're here. We're humans, and there are humans that do not great things.
Yeah. Well, haven't you made friends with somebody from the Boos and Bourbon?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking they need a shout out.
Yeah, that's another podcast, right?
Yes. So connected with Boos and Bourbon, which is another podcast. So major shout out to them. They actually did a Curse of Oak Island episode a while back. I want to say it was episode 40. Mm-hmm. And I went through and I listened to it before watching the Curse of Oak Island, whatever, putting together the pieces. And they were right. They pretty much pointed out, or they talked about all the things that this had already chatted about. Mm-hmm. And they called it first. It was definitely a you heard it here first moment for me. And it was good. Plus, I learned a little bit about the bourbon they were drinking. So look at that.
Yeah, so they drink bourbon in every episode, is that right?
Yes. Well, I've only got into a couple of the episodes, so far, I mean, booze, right? Like Boos and bourbon,
so
right?
It's about
booze, scary.
But it's about like paranormal, like ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, and then they also talk about what it is that they're drinking, what type of bourbon it is, all that good stuff.
Well, I was thinking maybe we should listen to that. Maybe we could get on the try to understand the paranormal stuff a little bit more.
That'd be a good idea.
Because right now, I'm not buying it, but maybe I'm not saying I can't be convinced someday.
Maybe it's
going to be hard.
We don't understand. Yeah, it'll be hard to convince us, but that's okay. That we're here to be. I'm trying to be open-minded, guys, but
hey, but that's why those kind of podcasts exist, right?
That's true. That's true.
There you go. So
we all learn from each other.
Exactly.
So speaking of, Matty says if anyone he thought wouldn't be convinced of a curse, but sounds like maybe could be, was Dave Blankenship.
Okay.
Which surprised me.
Yeah. What surprised me was that he called Dave an old pal.
Right? And he pulls up to Dave's house, and this really bothers me how fast he's driving the golf cart and doesn't even put it in park and just walks out of it. And then I got to thinking, why is Matty driving a golf cart? Is he not allowed a car on the island?
Something like that.
They're like, Matty, I don't trust you with a car. You can take the golf cart.
Well, did you see him driving the golf cart, though? Maybe you know why.
You know what? That's a good point.
Because, man,
when he got ran someone over.
Well, when he got Dave into the golf cart, he starts flooring it backwards, in reverse. And it's like, whoa, dude.
And you're like, are you even looking where you're going? Yeah. I know there's very few cars out here, but you don't stand a chance in a golf cart. Everybody's driving a truck or an SUV.
Or there's a tree.
Yeah, or there's a tree. So slow your roll and let Dave hang on as you guys are hightailing it, and you park in a puddle when you get to the place you're looking for. Because they go talk about, was it where they see the fireball?
Yes.
Off of the Triton shaft, right? Yep. And that nothing's there.
10 to 15 feet wide fireball and
hovering in the water, slowly moving to shore.
That sounds pretty weird.
It does. And
wouldn't that freak you out?
It would freak me out, but I want to know what the weather was like that day and what time of day it was, because and what season.
You think it's a reflection?
I'm wondering.
Into the fog or something?
Maybe into the fog, or I've seen some crazy water reflections. And for those who believe there was a floating fireball that looked like the sun, maybe there was, and I just don't understand it.
And maybe that's a UFO thing. Maybe I just didn't get it at the time.
Oh, UFO? Don't go that way. Oh, man. I'm going to be outnumbered, UFO. Well, I guess that would explain why there's no scorch marks.
Yeah, I guess.
No? Maybe? And what about the black mass?
I know exactly what that was.
So do I. I think we said the same thing when it came on the screen.
It happened. This is the beginning of the smoke monster from Lost.
It is.
It got released in 1795 by Daniel McGinnis, Anthony Vaughn, and John Smith.
Yes. This is how Lost began.
Yeah. And then they talk about the white fog too, but that's that's
just fog.
What is it, the Man in Black and Jacob, right? Wasn't that what
I think it is.
We haven't seen that show in so long.
Oh man, it's been a long time. I'm feeling like we're gonna open a hatch and Dharma Initiative's gonna start rolling out.
Get to that old PC and hit enter or whatever you have to do.
Right? I mean, they did find a map with
it says hatch right there.
It says hatch. Oh my gosh!
That's the line. That's the island of the Dharma Initiative. I'm surprised we don't see that symbol all over the place.
Right. Well, I don't know. We found concrete in the cove, so maybe that's the original bunker. Wow, we're figuring this out right now.
Yep.
But major shout out to the not the sound effects, the special effects this time.
Yeah, not bad, huh?
Yeah. Not. How about like the wolf hands on, was it Jimmy's chest? I was like, whoa, someone just buy some gloves.
That's Jimmy Kaiser, yes.
Jimmy Kaiser. And someone had some like
don't laugh at him. He got owned.
No, I'm talking about the Halloween gloves.
No, he got destroyed by Bigfoot. Leave him alone.
Okay, I'm not. You're being a butt.
You're mean.
I'm not mean. I'm just talking about the wolf hands, not actual guy.
Okay, I'm kind of laughing too. So we're both
you better be, because wow. Yeah. As soon as that smoke cloud came out, I think we both laughed and were like, "Dharma Initiative."
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. So solve that one. If you haven't seen Lost, you should totally watch it. Totally awesome.
Yep, pretty good.
Totes. Dave said he didn't know where the seventh must die thing came from, but
some kind of magazine, like I wrote it down. It's 1967 True magazine article that first described that.
Yes, and they were saying there was an interview in there with a woman that didn't have a name disclosed, so we don't know if a reporter or someone just made it up for hype, which is possible.
Very possible. That's how you sell newspapers.
That's it.
Sensational stories.
Sensational stories. True Men's Magazine. January 1967. If anybody has one of those laying around, it's probably worth a decent amount now.
Probably, maybe.
It's like an artifact.
Yeah, but that's only what, 50 years ago? 50?
Yeah, and they're still digging for treasure. Mm-hmm. Only.
Yeah, okay, so they talk about 7 must die, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, then they went into talking about how, oh gosh, I hope I don't pronounce this wrong. Maynard Kaiser? Died in 1897?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm looking at a picture of the Oak Island Memorial Stone that they show in every episode that has the names etched into it of all the people that have died. Okay. So the first name on it says unknown, 1861. Okay. So that's like
unknown?
Yeah. And that's over 30 years before Maynard Kaiser was, unfortunately perished on Oak Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it says unknown. Okay, then there's, we were just talking about Maynard.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Restalls and the 2 people that were working with them. So those are 4 in one day. Number 5's Kaiser, Maynard Kaiser. And then the 6th one, the first one, supposedly, just says unknown. They don't even know who it is. Did somebody actually die?
Weird. So are we saying that they just found other remains?
Don't know.
And then what about the pieces?
It could have just been a laborer helper that just fell down the pit or something, and they just they didn't have records or something. They didn't keep records. They just said one laborer died. That was what they wrote down that day in the journal or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's so many. And like you said, talking about Kaiser, that story was just sad. And can you imagine? I understand why everybody quit.
Mm-hmm.
Why nobody would come back. Of course they had dreams. This is PTSD here. I wouldn't go back. I would be scarred for life. It would change me, and it would literally haunt me. If you're there, you're trying to pull this guy, your boss, or whoever up, and plummets to their death. That is horrible.
Yeah. Yep, that would be a big bummer. And then we have 10X, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the body that Dan Blankenship thinks he saw down there. And that one's not counted.
Yeah, that one's not, because we haven't actually pulled up any remains. So we had the people that were sonographers, I believe.
Yeah, the sonar people.
Yeah, they came down and they think it's remains. But I think he was the same guy that was sure there was a chest.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so until we actually pull that up.
Well, John Chatterton went down there and he thought he found what they thought was the chest, and he said, yeah, it's just a kind of a squarish rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm just trying to understand the 7 must die thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if there was somebody chained down there and that person perished, would they or would they not be part of the curse? Or, and also in last year in H8, the spoils, they brought up 2 different bones that belonged to 2 different people. One was Middle Eastern descent and the other one was European. So they were probably not considered part of could be counted toward the curse either. Those 2 and the guy that was supposedly chained at the bottom of 10X would have technically been before the curse, right? Was the thing?
Possibly.
I
But
don't know. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it.
I think the idea is 7 people must die in pursuit of, and my assumption is it would be on the island. Okay, so we don't know if those other bodies were ones that happened to die on a boat on their way over and were just buried there.
That's true.
We don't know if they were people that perished because they were placing the treasure and not trying to retrieve it.
Yeah.
So without that knowledge, they can't count towards this supposed curse.
I'd like to count them towards the curse, though, and just have it over with.
I would like to, but I don't think that's the way curses work. I mean, you have seen Pirates of the Caribbean, right? People
the first
die
one's
to protect
good.
it. The first one's fabulous.
First
Love
one's
that
real
one.
good.
So
the rest of them, meh.
But that's the one with the protecting of the gold, and you have to put it all back or you're all cursed. And so maybe every coin they pull up is haunting someone. I don't know. It's scary stuff.
Yep, totally.
Okay, what about this this fact that Dan Henske being possessed? Even he says, I don't know if it was real or not.
Who knows? Anyway, yeah, he said he was attacked by a dead priest, and that
he was possessed, not attacked.
No, I think he said attacked. I thought he said attacked.
Well, you also thought that they weren't rubber pipes.
We're not even going to talk about that, okay?
Oh, we are.
Okay.
Anyway, Dan, and about a priest getting his throat cut, and he talked about people, legends of people being killed a particular way to protect the treasure. He didn't know if it was that.
And it was a priest that had been rumored to have been killed that way, right? And that's who he thought possessed him or
potentially
attacked him. Anyway,
possessed him.
And that priest guards the treasure now. So
which could be who's at the bottom of 10X.
Yep. And he was getting too close, I guess. Dan Henske, I mean.
He could have had, I don't know, a mini heart attack or medical emergency or something and never got checked out and felt like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm going to upset some people that are really into this, but sorry. I have a hard time with it. I will give you that 10X seems just like a creepy place in general. I'll give you that. Yeah, I fully believe that what Dan felt was real. I cannot necessarily explain it one way or another because I am not a doctor, as much as I may pretend to be.
Yeah.
Or like to think I am.
He had a weird experience. How about that?
He did. He had a very unique experience.
So
we'll leave it there.
He seems to be doing okay now.
Yes.
He's still working the island, so it didn't scare him too bad.
I'm a big fan of Dan Henske. He's been there working hard a long time. He was there digging holes by hand. Dang.
That guy's hardcore?
He is hardcore. Very, very hardcore.
Yep. So then we had what's this guy called? The parapsychologist, Brian Cano.
So we had Brian Cano, parapsychologist. That is a real thing. I looked it up. Like, there's degrees.
Yeah, I started typing it in with my phone, and it filled it in. You know, so it's like
obviously people looked it up.
Well, I'm not talking about Google. Like, it was just like something I could slide my finger across the phone. It was in my dictionary of my phone.
Oh, okay.
So it's a real thing.
Was folklorist in there too?
I didn't try, but I kind of doubt it.
I don't know. I feel like that's a more realer thing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was when Brian came up, I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's half the Ghostbusters right here. So I was trying to cast them in my head. I don't know that you know the characters of the Ghostbusters very well, but I think that Brian, the expert that came in, is the Egon because he's like the nerdy smart one,
Okay.
and that Matty was the Ray, and Ray was kind of like the, well, he was smart too, but he was like kind of like shocked about a lot of stuff, and he was like kind of,
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but those are the impressions I got. And they're Ghostbusters, right? Or at least ghost hunters. So
Yes. So here's what I'll give him credit is Matty says he thinks he knows some people who understand this stuff. My first thought was, I hope you know some people because I think that's the point here. And my favorite line of the entire thing from Dave Blankenship, let's find the boogeyman. So they bring out, like you said, Brian, and at least with them bringing Brian out as far as someone to investigate this type of stuff, he does seem to have the experience and credentials within that area.
sure.
If I was looking for someone that was an expert there, he seems to, tick the boxes. He had a lot of experience. He does lectures and teaches and all the things and has been doing it a long time and seems to have a pretty good record. So if that's what I was looking for, he seems good, and he had a sweet like utility belt ready to go.
I knew you'd be jealous of that.
I was totally jealous. I want a utility belt. I can't even say belt.
Is that because you hit your head?
I was gonna say I think it's because I hit my head and it hurts to breathe, but
Aww.
whatever.
Oh wait, don't laugh. It's gonna hurt worse. You definitely don't want to laugh like last week.
Oh yeah, that was good. I recovered, but then I didn't, obviously.
So
they come out where he takes him in the golf cart
over to the swamp.
over to the swamp.
And the swamp is
Drained.
Yep.
Dun dun dun.
So I think that's kind of a hint for future episodes of this season. Like they're doing stuff in the swamp. This is not.
They're waiting for it to finish draining out.
It looked pretty empty.
Yeah,
I think it's ready for them.
Empty, but I'm sure it's still swampy.
Yeah.
But
probably still stinks.
Probably maybe a little less.
Maybe
because it's less wet.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they go out there with his Swiss Army knife
and the Mel Meter.
Mel Meter. I was just looking for what is that thing called? Mel Meter. So
yeah. I wrote on my notes ... okay. Like it changes temperature or something. Like it can detect temperature changes. And that's supposed to tell you spirits around you or something.
Okay, so what he had first said when they got there is they would be doing some thermal temperature readings. It's something we do when buying homes too. You'll see an inspector often come by with their infrared.
Mel Meter?
Not with their Mel Meter.
Okay.
It's just for infrared.
Okay.
And, looking for leaks around windowsills, making sure that when you point it at a vent, it's getting warmer when you turn on the heat, yada, yada.
In case you guys don't know, Deidre sells houses for a living. Doesn't
Yes.
she sound like she knows what she's talking about?
Yes, I've seen a few things.
Okay.
I've seen a few things.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was like, okay, that makes sense. I also know when you get around large bodies of water.
It's funny that makes sense to you, and he was trying to find ghost whiz.
Okay. I'm just saying I understand the technology.
Oh, gotcha.
And what he was saying there. So I was trying to wrap my head around it. And then what else did it do? Oh, yeah, EMFs. So we talk about that too when people are near power lines.
Okay.
And they're concerned about...
That's what the Mel Meter does?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's going to read those types of energies. So
Gotcha.
It's a thing that comes up for people that are concerned about it. There's been some health concerns involved when you're around too high of EMS for a long period of time. That's why those that are near power plants usually have it read around their home. Anyways...
Interesting.
No power lines right there. And so I guess when a person dies, the idea is that the electromagnetic field is embedded in the environment around where they pass. I know nothing about that.
Me neither.
Okay.
I think we should just move on to the next thing because I don't get it.
Okay, you don't get it, but what I wanted
Maybe
to say...
Maybe Boos and Bourbon can explain it to me sometime.
Actually, they may be able to.
I bet you they could.
I bet they can help us. Anywho, what I was going to say is in the swamp, it didn't look like he was having much reading variances anyways. So they did their...
Then they did the EVP session.
EVP.
Okay. So I used to watch a show called Fact or Faked, The Paranormal Files.
Yes.
A lot. I loved that show. I binged it. I watched every single episode. It was
really
awesome. Oh, I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. It was so good because they did a lot of like Bigfoot stuff. They did a lot of UFO stuff, but they also did a lot. Like it seemed like almost half the stuff was ghost stuff. So
okay.
I'm familiar with them doing these EVP sessions where they just go and start talking to thin air. Yeah, they go start talking to thin air.
They're talking to spirits.
Well, okay, they are. But okay, I don't want to insult them or anybody else because it was a good TV show. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, I can tell you're passionate.
Oh, I loved it. It was so good. I wish it would come back. Oh man, we could make a podcast about that.
No,
so good.
I'm so good. Not
okay. Anyway,
so
like. I'm just familiar with what they're doing. I've never bought into it, but I don't know. I'm glad they tried some of this. One thing I will mention before we really dive into this a little bit more, I saw at least one funny message on Twitter. I can't remember who tweeted it, so sorry about that. But they were like, "What are these guys doing? Like their paranormal." EVP sessions and stuff during the middle of the day.
I will agree with that.
Like, come on, every show that does this stuff, they do it in the middle of the night with, night vision cameras and the light lamps to their faces, where all you can see is like their green face and their black eyes.
Well,
that's
any
like
of those shows.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Gates has got a couple of them, right?
Yeah, or Finding Bigfoot. They go out in the middle of the night, they howl for Bigfoot, and they it's just they have like a camera that's hooked to themselves, like over their shoulder, pointing at their face, and it's the dead of night. That's just kind of how they work.
Well, if there's a curse, I would expect it to be fully alive at night. Mm-hmm. But Matty seemed pretty freaked out during the day, so maybe that was part of it, or maybe they couldn't get Brian for the evening, or people were like, I ain't filming at that time. Equipment doesn't work out there.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know, but I'm with you. Like, at least part of this should have been done at night, but Matty kept being very consistent that he needed to get off the island before it got dark.
Yeah, that's true. He did. That was one of the things he said right at the end of the whole episode. So, I don't know. Hey, so anyway, when they started doing that EVP session at the swamp, did you look at anything other than them when they were doing it? Because if you look right over their shoulders, like the tall grass or the trees or the wind is just howling.
It is. I was noticing that.
How the heck are you going to hear a spirit over the wind howling like that? Like if that's what you're aiming to hear.
Well, yeah, of course it's going to be super windy, and especially there right on the shore on a small island. And I was like, okay, if anything comes out of this session in particular, like the one where they're at the swamp, it is way too windy to credit it. Yeah. That was my opinion.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was like, huh?
But, at least they went to some places that they were a little bit more covered.
It's true.
So where they go next, 10X, which is the creepiest of places.
Yeah, well, that's where they discuss the lost smoke monster once again. Mm-hmm.
Dharma Initiative.
Yeah, and
no wonder
they ask a bunch of questions. That's where they hear the voice in the EVP session where Brian says he thought it says, "Chain this."
Chain them.
Or
chain this? What?
My bad. Okay.
Chain this. What? Like, what are we chaining? You need to calm down. It's chain them. Okay. Or chain. What was the other thing he thought it said?
Well, at the end, Marty and Rick thought it said Jason.
Yeah, I heard like chain them, like chant them or something.
No, I could definitely hear Jason.
But I heard Jason after I heard that. But again, it's another thing. We fit it to what we want to hear. And it's like Laurel or Yanni. Which is it? Laurel or Yanni?
I don't remember.
Well, this was debated everywhere. So
I know,
I feel
but,
like maybe the poll should be
heard.
chain them or Jason.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was Jason.
Okay. I agree, actually. But
yeah, well, I'm sure we agreed on Laurel and Yanni, too.
I doubt it.
I just don't remember which one it was.
I think we had also disagreed on what color the dress was. You know, was it blue and black or gold and white?
It was blue.
Or was it?
It was.
Could it be that it was two colors?
I have good vision.
You do not have... Just to be clear, Dustin is probably legally blind without his glasses. He does not
I am
have
not
good
legally
vision.
blind.
I think you just might be.
Okay, I might be, but like I could see real good with my glasses, and it was blue and black, that dress, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, I do think it was blue and black.
Yeah, duh.
Okay, 10X, Smoke Monster. We heard a crow after they asked, you know, give us a sign.
Mm-hmm.
And since crows are disembodied.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was there or if it was after they went to the money pit to do their final bit of the red investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But Matty's like, I'm freaked out. I want to get out of here.
He said that a few times.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Okay, so let's talk about that. They go to the money pit and they're all at the top of the caissons and talking into it.
Yep.
And Matty gets very scared because he heard a giant bang. Did you notice Brian didn't even jump?
Yeah, because he probably kicked it with a steel-toed boot.
Totally on board with that. Especially since he said, now you've been, initiated into the paranormal investigation.
You have arrived.
And I'm like, oh, you totally did this on purpose. That or one of the crew members is totally like wanting to mess with him. So when he's like staring intently, someone like threw a rock down underneath.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, I'm willing to bet that.
Yeah, well.
And if no one did, the pipes definitely could have just been expanding, contracting.
Like Marty said?
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite part about that scene at the money pit, doing their investigation. So they're trying to do an EVP session.
Mm-hmm.
And Matty says, are you the person we found the bones of Middle Eastern descent? Okay. That's one of the questions he asked. It's okay. It's not, don't quote me word for word, but he said something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all I hear in my head is, no, I'm the European. or I hear like, huh? Because, okay, if he's Middle Eastern, he probably doesn't understand English.
That's
okay.
I was thinking the same thing. Why do the spirits respond in English?
Yeah. Well, the ones that spoke English would. But the ones the Middle Eastern guy, okay, maybe he knew English.
Okay, but what about the French people or yeah, a lot of people spoke more than one language, but I don't feel like they were gonna articulate in that manner.
Hey, are you a ghost?
Huh?
You don't know how it is.
Maybe I am.
I don't think so.
Maybe that's my secret.
Okay, weirdo.
Maybe. Now you'll never know.
Yeah. I know. Okay.
The Shadow knows.
Mm.
Please tell me there's some other Shadow fans out there. Dustin thinks I'm crazy, but I'm a big fan of the Shadow.
Shadow's okay, but
no.
Superman's way better. Okay.
Shadow's okay. Alec Baldwin was not a fantastic Shadow, but the Shadow is awesome.
Okay.
Because he knows.
He
knows
he probably does know. That's good. So
take that.
If you go find the Shadow, ask him if the bones that they found of the Middle Eastern guy, if that guy's down there to chat with, maybe he'll chat with the Shadow.
The Shadow would know. I will find out.
Okay.
I'll let you know next time I see him.
Okie dokie. Hey, so one of the things that Brian was saying to Matty, he's like this is kind of at the beginning of the EVP sessions that they do, but he's like, I hear chatter, no,
that's when they're reviewing.
Oh yeah, when they're reviewing it.
Yeah,
right.
What he calls it, evidence review, and it's dark out, by the way, when they're in the research center doing evidence review.
Yeah, Why are they there?
I don't know.
Shouldn't he be scared and run
That's
off?
probably why Matty looked so scared through that entire time. Remember, that's when it looked like he was going to puke on him.
That's right.
Especially when he said, I heard chain them. And he was like, no, don't say that. Yeah, totally.
Well, okay. Well, this one wraps up back in the war room with Rick and Marty.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that Matty said was, I'm being very careful not to leap to conclusions.
Yeah.
I think he is, he's not leaping. He's like doing the long jump.
No, he's trying to present the facts.
Yeah.
But what he's presenting,
he's already
Marty is not buying.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Like, he looked totally crushed when he asked, where do you stand on a curse now? He's like, meh.
You know what's really funny, though? Mm-hmm. Before that, though, Matty says, I've done a lot of research about the curse. And then he says, I've talked to Dave.
So that's it. Huh?
That was his research.
I talked to Dave, so I'm good now. I'm all caught up. Let's go find the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah. And he explains what EVP is to them.
Yep. And they go, okay. Now and then they go to listen to what he has to show them.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I don't think he didn't share the chatter, right?
No, he did not.
He just shared the chain them.
Yes. They're both like, I heard Jason. But then, what I didn't like is the flipping. It's like he agreed with Brian, and then he's like, yeah, I heard Jason. I don't like like a flip-flopper.
Hey, he just got initiated into the paranormal research community, okay?
Yeah, and then he flops.
Yeah, but while he was with the guy, he had to agree. You know, sometimes you get peer pressured into just saying what they want you to say.
Don't give in to peer pressure.
Oh, duh, right?
Yeah, I know. That's the lesson of this.
Yeah, and then we did touch on how Matty looked pretty devastated when Marty thought that the expansion and contracting of the metal in the money pit caused that bang.
Mm-hmm.
He looked crushed.
Yeah.
He needed a hug at that point.
He did. I felt really bad for him. Like, I can truly appreciate his enthusiasm for Oak Island. Like, he is a kid in a candy store anytime he shows up there.
Yeah,
but man,
he is. He's very excited and he's very passionate about it. You could tell.
No doubt.
Yeah, but then I think the very last thing he says in the war room right before they leave, or actually as they're leaving, he says, it's getting dark and I'm getting creeped out.
Right? Why is he so creeped out?
I don't know. Someone that's into the ghost, he should probably want to just stay the night there.
I thought so, unless he's like truly scared, I guess.
Well, the last guy that stayed the night there apparently got attacked by Bigfoot. So.
No, that's not true. Because
I know.
Dan has been there for a very long time.
Maybe he turns into Bigfoot at night. Maybe it's like a werewolf thing.
What? I can't even. Oh.
Now we're just doing crazy talk.
Ow.
You okay?
That hurts. So.
Sorry.
Don't be funny. It's mean.
Maybe I could be the witty one going forward.
No, that is my title.
Okay.
Even when I'm not being witty.
Yeah. So that was the episode. And it was fun.
It was fun.
It wasn't as terrible as everybody made it out to be.
No.
Like, there's so much negative posts about it on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere.
No, I agree. I think it was necessary.
Yeah, it was
because of the curse.
Yeah, and big whoop. It's 1 hour that 1 week you don't get a normal episode. Okay, no big deal. We move on to the next week. We get a fresh episode. It's gonna be great and it's gonna be fine.
But we didn't have Robert Clotworthy,
and we didn't have Gary, and we didn't have Jack, and we didn't have Peter Fernetti.
Okay, but Robert's always there. We always have a could it be or,
I know.
Whatever it was.
Actually, we haven't had true could it be's in a long time.
No, but we didn't have any extraordinary speculation either.
Yeah.
Which was highly unsatisfying for me, especially coming from a podcast called Could It Be?
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't even post this episode because Robert Clotworthy wasn't a part of it.
I think he will forgive us.
Yeah.
I think we must soldier on.
Yeah, we can't even have a clot-worthy moment this episode.
I know. Like, I'm actually very bummed about that.
Yeah, well, we'll figure something else out.
We'll figure something out. Something to vote on.
It's coming soon.
Yes.
Yes. So you want to talk about the next time on Oak Island again? Because I'm pretty sure we talked about it last episode.
We did. They gave us a little tiny extra footage, I think.
They showed going and having the parchment examined.
Yes.
By some professionals.
And they said medieval.
Ooh.
That's exciting.
That is real exciting. That could correspond, or that can correlate with the with Tori's P-Rock, right?
Yes.
Because that had Gothic script, right? From medieval Gothic script, potentially.
Or it could be someone's fireplace mantle. Or the 10 Commandments.
You're still on that?
Yeah, because when I gave up on the aqueducts, they showed it on the next episode. So
let it go.
I can't.
Let it go.
Because one of these times we're going to get a graphic of that, and then I'll be like, I told you so.
Okay. Well, I'll wait for it. That'll be fun. Maybe that'll be a next season thing.
Maybe.
Or the one after that. Anyway.
Then the money pit collapsing.
Ugh.
That's scary.
Yeah, the whole, like, the pipe looks like it's kind of angled a little bit after the ground falls out.
Well, you see them pull out and there's like sunken ground all around it.
Yeah.
Like, that is
intense.
That's a sinkhole. You know how when you're a child, you, like in the movies such as The Neverending Story, and there's quicksand, and in all the cartoons, there's quicksand, and people sink into it. Apparently, that's not a problem I run into everyday life, but it is a problem in the money
Where's
pit.
the quicksand in the Neverending Story?
Where the horse dies.
It is not quicksand.
That is quicksand.
No.
Yes.
No. It's like tar or something. It's black.
It's totally quicksand.
Black quicksand?
We cannot trust you.
What was the horse's name?
I don't know. Horse?
Yeah, no. I think it was...
You have no idea. Look, he tries to do this to me.
Okay. I know who rode the horse. That was Atreyu.
Duh.
What's the name of the big white dragon thing?
Falcor.
Okay, well, you know some stuff.
I know the important things, and I know that was quicksand. You seem to not know when pipes are rubber, so we can't trust you.
Okay. You know what, everybody? Deidre's the one that takes over the Instagram for our podcast. Go to the Instagram. I don't know how it works, okay?
Go to the Instagram. That tells you something. Let's just kind of like, let's go to the YouTube. What's on the Facebook today? Like, really? He thinks your Twitter has a page. It's a Twitter feed. It's a handle. Do you know what a hashtag is? Anytime I talk about, like, anything that relates to, like, I had to explain to him what a CRM is. Just the very basics of life. And so he's going to try to prove to you that I am less worthy as he's over here laughing hysterically because he is doing well in the Twitterverse. Because that's...
Oh my gosh.
Anyway. I can't.
Just tell her it's not quicksand on the Instagram, okay?
On the Instagram. Did you hear that? Tell her it's not quicksand on the Instagram. New hashtag on the Instagram.
Okay.
Jeez. You might as well at least make it on the gram.
I got tears.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Whew.
No.
Thanks for keeping that going while I was over here and I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, no problem. We'll take turns each episode who has the giggle fit.
I guess. Oh my goodness. Wow.
That's interesting. So next week they go looking for a anchor.
Yeah, they do some underwater exploration. Are they looking for Randall Sullivan's entrance that might be underwater now? Can
Maybe
that be part
because of the ice holes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yes. So maybe. Except for the entrance is probably going to be something to do with the giant things of concrete in Smith's Cove.
Maybe.
Could it be?
Could it be? We'll see. Maybe.
You're a poet and you didn't know it.
So are you.
Maybe that's why you're
Out of the
killing
blue.
it on the Twitter there.
Duh.
No. Anyways, what else do we have to talk about?
Well,
How about our clot-worthy moment from last week?
wait, before we do that,
Aw.
like, I just want to talk about our book giveaway again real quick.
Okay.
So, like we said, we haven't heard from Joan yet. So, Joan Fox, please get a hold of us. If we don't hear from you, we should probably do another drawing, but let's give it like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to touch on that. We didn't have any real rules for the drawing, but
Yeah, we should do that next time.
yeah, we do want to make sure somebody gets it. And if we can't contact Joan at all and she doesn't know, then we do want to get the book to somebody.
Yes, so 2 weeks and counting.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today, I guess. What day is it? 22nd?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
2/22.
2/22. All right, so that's what we would like to do. Anyway, you want to talk about clot-worthy moments, huh?
Yeah, how about...
I don't want to talk about clot-worthy moments.
That's great because I'm pretty sure that the two options were rubber pipes and something else.
You don't even remember?
No,
Or does it not
because
matter?
it doesn't matter because rubber pipes won by a landslide.
It was another flood tunnel.
Okay, well, it won by a flood tunnel because if you listen to the episode, you would know the proper vote was rubber pipes. So anybody that voted for flood tunnels clearly did not hear the previous episode, I've decided.
You think?
I do. Or maybe they just felt sorry for you.
Yeah, probably.
It was pity votes. Your
Could be.
flood tunnel was pity
Yeah,
votes.
so, like, I'm not too happy about this result, so I'm not even going to bother. Like, I'm just looking up the results right now, and I'm not going to bother, like, adding them together and finding out what the true average was, the true percentage. On Facebook, it was 76% rubber pipes, 24% another flood tunnel, and 69% rubber pipes, and 31% another flood tunnel on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we actually probably should play the clip, too.
Rubber pipes.
So, rubber pipes won. Whoopee.
Woohoo! Okay, so...
You were right, I was wrong. I won't ever say it again. It's over.
Well, you will because this is being recorded. So I can play it as many times as I want. It is now the soundtrack of my life. Yes.
Aw.
My life is happy. Okay,
You got
now
me.
We've got a real conundrum here.
Yes.
We don't have a Robert Clotworthy narration for this episode.
But I'm sure we could figure something out.
We can. What should we vote on?
I think we should vote on the boogeyman.
Yes, because Dave, I would say that's my favorite quote. So Dave says,
Let's find the boogeyman.
let's find the boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
And
then
Matty says,
Matty replies,
All right, I don't know if I want to find the boogeyman.
I don't think I want to find the boogeyman.
yeah. So,
Dave versus Matty. Find the boogeyman or not? Let's vote for, let's do that.
all right.
To boogie or not to boogie?
That is the question.
That is the question.
So, is that like a Shakespeare thing?
Yeah, because
So Shakespeare's like, it's Shakespeare's manuscripts? Is that
So
what
we
you're
have
agreeing to?
found Shakespeare's manuscripts.
And it's
To boogie or not to boogie? That is the question. I think did I just like be French right there? I'm really not sure.
You definitely did not speak French. Okay.
No, not speak French.
That's what you said.
No, I said be French.
Oh, be French. You mean try a French accent?
Yes.
Okay.
But not
thought
on
you said-
purpose.
I thought you said, and I just speak French. And I was like, no.
Did I just
Definitely English.
definitely spoke English, was not possessed,
Oh, my gosh.
and still not French.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That's funny.
That's unique.
Mm-hmm.
That's wow.
Okay, so anyway, those are the not clot-worthy moments. I guess that's what the hashtag will be this week, the not clot-worthy moments.
Hashtag not clotworthy moment. Okay, so then last but not least, I guess we should tell them how to get a hold of us. Or do we have a review to share, maybe?
We have reviews.
Yeah. You guys are the best, by the way. We've had some great emails.
Yes.
Some reviews that we read all of them, and we love them. And I'm going to start sharing some of them on Instagram because I want to share the love.
Totally. I do want to say thank you to one of our listeners. His name is Ben. He lives in Tennessee, and he replied to us and asked us about how he can help us find that treasure we were talking about that we think is in Tennessee. So thank you very much, Ben. And I did send you an email back. Go check it out, reply, and then we'll tell you where you can maybe go look to find buried treasure.
Yeah, we love teaming up. I guess the floodgates didn't open, but I'm glad Ben reached out.
We got one reply, so.
Well, that's all we need.
That's all we need to get boots on the ground.
That's right.
Hopefully he lives near Nashville.
Hopefully.
Anyway, so thank you, Ben. And I do want to read a couple of reviews. These
Great.
ones are going to be from Facebook this time.
Great.
So we have Stephanie. She just simply put, good info, nice people. They aren't there to make fun of the show, the cast, or the narrator. It's great. So thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie. Love that.
Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, we definitely don't try to make fun of the show. I mean, we poked a little fun at Matty Blake tonight, but we like Matty Blake.
Everything's in good fun.
Yeah.
Like, we're nice people.
Totally.
Or we try to be.
Yeah, we try, and I think we succeed. So the next review is from Val, and it says, love the energy and knowledge of the hosts of this podcast. It's so much fun to hear so much enthusiasm for the show and for the hunt, especially for Gary Drayton, the real Bobby Dazzler of the bunch.
He is a Bobby Dazzler.
Yeah. If you love the show, you'll love this podcast. So
That's
thank you,
awesome.
Val. Yeah, isn't that
Well,
nice?
Thank you.
Yeah, I love hearing that stuff.
We love to be a positive force.
Yes. And if you can go and leave us a review as well, we're happy to read it on the air, and it helps us a ton, especially our iTunes reviews. Those are a really big deal in getting us noticed by other people.
Yes. The reviews, like you said, the subscribes, the downloads. We've also just recently changed hosting platforms. So if you can't hear this, well, I guess you can hear this because you're listening to it. If you're having a hard time finding it, or a friend you know that loves this podcast please let us know. Because we want to make sure everything's nice and seamless.
Yeah. And, if something does happen, which we don't think it will, but just resubscribe or, like we said in the last episode, if you have a friend that is into Oak Island as well, just share us, and hopefully we can start to grow even more. We've already seen a lot of growth since we started, and we just want to say a quick thank you for all the support.
Yes, for all the support, for the feedback when we hear, what the things you like or you don't like. It helps us get better.
Yeah, because we've already said it before. We were brand new when we started this. This is our 14th podcast ever.
Woo, woo.
Woo, woo.
That's like a fortnight worth of podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, we're over half. If someone wanted to listen from episode 1 through the end of this episode, they could almost do over half a day.
They could, but they should not listen from episode 1.
It's called binging.
Yes, but episode 1 was kind of rough.
Yeah, a little bit. It was fun though.
It was fun. We got to start somewhere, I guess.
Everybody does. So anyway, you were gonna say how they could contact us?
Yes. Since we've already told you so many times we like hearing from you, best ways to get a hold of us, of course, is on the social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. We are at Oak Island Podcast. On Twitter, you can find us at
Oak Island Pod.
And then we also have email at
oakislandpodcast@gmail.com. I was going to say it with you together. Lame.
Yeah, and then we have a website.
Mm-hmm.
oakislandpodcast.com. You see a theme going on here? I bet you could also find us on YouTube for when we start releasing some video content.
Yeah, we need to do another one.
We definitely do.
I think it's about time.
It is. It is about time.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it already, if you're new to the podcast, go to our Facebook page or our YouTube page and type in, if you go to YouTube, just type in Oak Island Full House. and that'll get you to our video. But we only got about 1,000 views on YouTube. On Facebook, we got like 28,000 views.
Yeah, that was a little crazy.
That was, a lot of people really enjoyed that video. So
they loved Billy.
Oh man, who doesn't love Billy?
I know, Billy's my hero. He's pretty awesome.
Hey, we didn't like how Billy has his wall and Laird has. It's not his concrete; it's his wall. And then and then we had Dan's bone last episode. And
yes.
So, what's Matty's?
Matty doesn't.
Is it
find
Matty's
things.
golf cart?
No, you have to find something.
Oh, you have to find something. Duh.
And he didn't find a ghost, so he can't have Matty's ghost. Matty's
That's true.
moments. Matty's scared. Matty's.
Yeah, they didn't really find anything.
I'm sorry, Matty. Matty's EVP.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah, his Jason or his chain them.
Did you say his Jason?
Or his chain them.
Or, well, it's okay. You also thought it was like chain it or chain thing or what? No, Matty and chains.
Okay.
Oh man, nope. Sorry, Matty. You don't get anything.
Well, maybe next time. Hey, he almost had Matty's gun. Remember that first episode? But then it turned out to be like
Matty's pipe.
Yeah. That was like the first drilling down of the season.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. He's out there with Jack Bagley and Gary Drayton metal detecting, and he gets all. Remember that double take he did?
Yes, he like freaked out.
It's like, whoa, like yeah.
Yeah.
Love
the enthusiasm.
That's the most memorable moment of Matty Blake this season.
Matty's enthusiasm.
It's just his double take.
His double take.
Yeah, that was priceless.
That's funny. All right, let's wrap this up and let these people stop listening to us.
And I think they enjoy it for the most part. Or else they wouldn't keep tuning in.
Good call.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Could it be?
A diagram from the 1936 records of Gilbert Hedden? The U-shaped structure? A triangle-shaped opening?
All right, you know what? I think I know some people who understand this type of stuff, or at least try to investigate.
Bring them out. Let's find the boogeyman.
All right, I don't know if I want to find the boogeyman.